High-tech guys who want me to hook me up with these things. Okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. Everybody is pretty awake. Okay. All right. The fun part of the reunion, the day and a half or 2 days, so to speak, has been outstanding. Outstanding. And where's Masood? Masood and his team, I see Harun and Shohel and Imtiaz and Nijam and Mizan, I'm sorry. And who else am I missing? Of course, Pulsi. No, Harun, Rohim, I'm sorry. No, Harun re samne dekhchilam to, but it's still okay. So, before I get started, sometimes I miss these things and, appreciate for everything they do, and we forget about thanking the right people. So let's give them a round of applause for the outstanding job they have done. And secondly, I must recognize the people who has put this meeting together. And obviously our General Secretary, Manzoor Jwadar. Where is it? Jwadar? Is Jwadar right here? And Imtiaz, audio, video, and Mizan with the, Imtiaz did the video part and Mizan did the audio. So give them a round of applause in advance. Okay, I was just now told that we have to really keep our timing pretty tight. So I have a pretty good agenda. So I'll try to make it in about hour 15 minutes. So please, if I rush or if I cut you guys short a little bit, please apologies in advance, because the bus will leave at 11 o'clock sharp for the two beach we're gonna go to today, I think. All right. So without any further ado, welcome again to the our Jexca annual general meeting. Very quickly, I want to show you what's in the agenda, and then some of the stuff will go pretty quick. Some of the stuff will take some time because some delicate issues that we'll talk about. So how many of you, well, I know there's a bunch of people first time in the reunion, so that means they're the first time in this annual general meeting. Okay, so as you know, Jexca stands for Janada Ex-Cadet Associations of North America, NA. So that includes everybody in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. So we have representation here from Canada. Harun? Anybody else from Canada? Mustafa? Okay, we have 2 from Canada, and nobody lives in Mexico, I don't think, does it? Any of our ex-cadet lives in Mexico? Okay, so let's get started. So I want to show you what's in the agenda. So Jwadar, if you click to the next slide. Okay, so let's get started. So I want to show you what's in the agenda. All right, so this is in the agenda. So it's a working breakfast. So please help yourself and get up and get your coffee and breakfast if you have not taken any. So we'll start off with give you guys a little bit history of our Jexca. Then we'll talk about 2016-17 accomplishment of the existing executive committee, what they have done so far. Then we'll talk about the formation of Jexca NA nonprofit organization. So each and every one of us is equally important for this organization. So each and every one makes this entire organization. So your contributions, your participations on any shape or form is what we need for us to move forward. So, and then many of you already know that there's all other cadet college has associations, and the one that we are, watch very closely, and Manzoor Jwadar, our General Secretary, watch very closely, and Akhtar Bhai, people who've been involved with this, and of course Kamrul Bhais, and I'll introduce them, and you'll know how much knowledge they have about all this organizations and alumni organization and so on and so forth. So we have researched and looked. So like the Rajshahi Cadet College, their organization is very well organized, and they operate in exactly the similar or same kind of organization, which is a charitable organization. So whatever we do, our organization is just not only going to be just to meet once a year or every other year to have some fun with friends and families. We can do that anytime, but also add some value to it add something that we can give back. So we'll talk a little bit more. So and I'll spend a little bit more time. It took us a little over a year right now, our existing EC members, with the help of our ex-EC members and our senior brothers, to form this along with the other organization that we have. I'll come back and talk about that. Then we will also show you exactly what we have in the plan for 2017 and 18. That will be the end of the term for our EC. And in 2018, there will be new election. Then we'll have a financial report so you can see what we have done throughout the year. We'll have a seniors comment section. You can see I'm going to set up a panel over here. We'll bring some of our senior brothers who've been past EC members, and then we can have some question and answer sessions with them. And then the biggest thing is we need to really pick a city where we're going to take our reunion to next year, okay? And then we'll adjourn, with a really good touchy feeling, and then we will go and enjoy the rest of the day at the beach. With that, I want to start the meeting off with showing you a little bit of the history, just like at the first part of the agenda, with a video. Takes you back to reminisce a little bit about where we came from. There we go. Hope the sound works. Hope it's not going to be like yesterday.
50 years of Janada Cadet College.
Hold on.
This is where it all started. This is where we belong.
It worked really good when we were testing it, like it did last night. So.
Yesterday video worked, audio didn't work. Today audio is working, no video.
Yeah. And we have all these technical experts right here from Silicon Valley. We have all these technical experts right here from Silicon Valley. Okay, here we go.
This is where it all started. This is where we belong. October 18, 1963. Governor Abdul Munim Khan laid the foundation stone and we regained the paradise lost by Milton. Lieutenant Colonel N.D. Hassan joined us as the first principal. July 23, 1964, the very first group of stars joined as the first intake. Since 1964, every year a new intake, a group of stars joined Janada Cadet College to make this glory brighter. And we still believe to see the glory of a century and beyond. And here we are. Many of us are quite old today. Many of us have big achievements and received recognition. Many of us are real heroes of our own lifetime. No matter what, this is our home. This is the place from where we started our journey to grow big, bigger, and the biggest. We salute all our honorable faculty members, staff, everyone of this college who guided us with their pure heart feeling and guidance. This is where we all belong, our home, our JCC. Each of us is from an intake, a house, a color, a motto. We never learned where to stop. Some words that always kept us rolling and still going on. When we are in the khaki uniform, a single line could make us feel that we are the soldiers who could do anything, anytime, and anywhere. We had life, we had time, we had the best summers of our life. Those were the best days of our life. We had all the fun, we had all the works. We had classes, some of us were the leaders, and we had uniform time at the academic block. We had our exams, we had our evening time. We had sudden visits from the principal. I believe most of us slept sitting on the chair during the night preps, only to be rudely awakened by a sharp pencil stab. And that's our college academic block. This is the field where we played football. This is the green where we crossed many hurdles and counted time for 100-meter sprint. Today these memories are all around us, and this is where we belong. Our home, our Janada Cadet College.
Wow, does that bring memories? Does that bring memories? Does it look like that we were there when you saw that, you know? So anyways, so this is what I want to do. This is the part of the reunion. So obviously that brings us memories. And now the ball is in our court as ex-cadets, what we going to do here as we unite and in the United States and Canada and Mexico and see what we can give back. So okay, so with that, now let's go to the next slides and show you what we have done and when our organization was established here and who all been responsible and been part of the Jexca with their heart and soul here. So this is pretty much a history of Jexca that it shows that it was formed in 1988 here in called North America. In Allentown, Pennsylvania, the first reunion, that's where the first reunion was held. Humayun Reza Bhai, the first intake, Sardar Kamrul Hassan, the second intake, became the first president and general secretary, respectively, in our organization. So we are very pleased to have the very first general secretary of Jexca, our Kamrul Bhai. So give him a round of applause, and we'll hear more from him as we move forward. So, and since then, we have an annual reunion every year with different projects and different theme and so on and so forth. So, and since then we have an annual reunion. So here we go. The first term, 1988-1990, Humayun Reza Bhai from first intake was the president. Sardar Kamrul Hassan Bhai, second intake was the general secretary. The next term, 90-92, Mukammal Haq, third intake president. Sarwar Jahan Bhai, Sarwar Jahan from 11th intake. Okay, was the general secretary. You can, and actually, I'll just stop here so you can read through that, and I hope everybody can read this screen, right? Can you see it? So, and then the third term, again, you know, when you see the fourth term, our Kamrul Bhai, second intake, became the president from 1994 to 96, and Sarwar Jahan Khan from 11th intake became the general secretary. 96 and 98, Sheikh Amin Bhai, became, you know, may Allah rest his soul in peace. So, you know, he passed away last year, right? And then we're missing a few names here that, you know, as we're collecting the data. You guys may remember, our senior brothers may remember who were there, but just for time purposes, 98 to 2000, Moshir Bhai from the fourth intake was the president, and Farid Hussain, you know, he was here yesterday, you know, he was the general secretary. Then next term was 2000 to 2002. Moshir Bhai came back from fourth intake, became the 2 terms back to back. He was the president, 3 terms actually. 2002 to 2004, he was also the president. And then on 2004 to 2006, our Akhtar Bhai was the president, and Haidar Chaudhary was the general secretary. So give him a round of applause for, you know, one of our senior brothers here, the ex-president. 2006 to 2008, Ghulam Kabir Bhai was the president, 6th intake, and Abu Nasser from the 28th intake. So where's Kabir Bhai? He's right there, so give him a round of applause. So we have a lot of ex-presidents and executives over here. In 2008 to 10, Farooq Jan Bhai of the 3rd intake and was the president, and Abu Nasser of the 28th intake was the general secretary. 2010 to 12, Masood Rahman, Dr. Masood Rahman Bhai of 6th intake was the president, and then he was backed up by Shah Huda of 13 intake. 2012 to 14, Akhtar Bhai then came back and he became president again. So, and then Kamrul Hassan from 13 intake, he's a doctor in New York. So he was the general secretary in 2014 to 16. Mustaq, he's in Houston on 16 intake. He was the president, and then Kamrul Hassan, remained as the general secretary. So the past year, and then it brings up to our current ECs, and from 2016 to 2018, and here they are right there. So in case if you don't remember me or any one of us here, so it's me as the president, and then Vice President Mahmoud Hassan. We introduced all our EC members yesterday, and then General Secretary Mansoor Juatar, Treasurer Mohammed Iqbal, and then Organizing Secretary Farid, and Cultural Secretary Manzoor Anwar. So we have all our EC members were present except Anwari, and Anwari actually couldn't come because he just came from Bangladesh day before yesterday. So he would really sends his best wishes to everybody. And then in the past, we had like 4 zones. I think we did that for the last 2 terms. So we had zone members. From the East Zone, we had Nazrul from 8th intake. And from the West Zone was Masood Chaudhry, Masood Rob from the 8th intake here in West Coast. And for the North, we had Daud Haider from 8th intake. And the South Zone was Jahid Hassan, Dr. Jahid Hassan from 11th intake. So those were the 4th zones. So now I want to call up our Vice President, Mahmoud Hassan, to come up here and talk a little bit about what we have accomplished so far and what we have been working with. And I apologize again, I'm rushing and going too quick, and I want to get to the nuts and bolts of this in a minute. Accomplished so far and what Mahmoud.
Good morning, everyone. I'll do it quick in 30 seconds. Accomplishments, I don't want to call them accomplishments because I think it's a work in progress. We had a few things in mind, what we will do next year or 2. And so we have done a few, but I think still there are a lot of work remains to be done. So as you can read, number 1 is like overhaul Jexca website and made it functional and useful, and that has been accomplished. I don't know how many of you visited. I encourage you to visit that place because you will see changes and a lot of new information as you go from month-to-month basis. We had a lot of plans to change it. Number 2 actually is completed setting up framework for improved communication between Jexca Central, Jexcites and around the globe, and creating various email groups. So we have the JCC googlegroups.com and JCC ANZ. There's the Australian, New Zealand Google Groups. So we are trying to make it a global platform so that not only in North America, but we will also know what's going on in Australia and Europe. And I think some of our members visited Europe. I went to Australia, and Iqbal also went to Australia. We went together last year. And then we met a few ex-cadets over there. And looks like they're also organizing in a big way over there. Social electronic media, Jexca North America Viber group has been created, and it's already vibrating. We all know that. Then they completed setting up a hotline, phone, voicemail, email for members to send suggestions or seeking general information about Jexca, seeking assistance. It really, I think, helps. I know a lot of us, we travel here and there, and if we only knew that the ambassador over there is from our JCC or the first secretary, it really helps. So for many reasons, we could really use this service. It's a small family. Jordan, can we go to the second page, please? The other one we did is the general structure. We completed the members online database list, and I think it's 200. How many? 278 and growing. I still feel there are students, especially the newly graduates, they're here and there, and we have to find them. If we find them, we have to enlist them. So it's a work in progress also. 5 enriched group email list and made it useful for future electronic voting. That will be a huge step forward. A lot of us, for many reasons, we cannot attend, but if at least we can do the voting, then it will be truly a democratic process. Reunion, successful completion of reunion 2017, and I hope we were successful. At least I know that it was a great reunion, and going forward will be even better. We learn from little lapses here and there, but that's the whole idea. You know, if everything goes perfect, who wants to live in a perfect world? Fundraising, successfully completed raising funds for Javed's family. I think that was a huge accomplishment. This one we all should take some pride about. And some of the members were very active in helping Javed's family. And this is bringing out the best out of ourselves. A great example. The next one is combining Jexca NA alumni with the Jexca NA non-profit organization. I think this one is a huge one, and it is so huge that I have to give it back to our president to explain this to you. Thank you.
Yeah, now Jodha just hand me this. I guess we have a bunch of people online, so I got to keep the microphone on. So actually, I can have this piece on. I don't have to plug, right? Yeah, now Jodha just hand me this. I guess we have a bunch of people online, so I got to keep the microphone on. So actually, I can have this piece on. I don't have to plug, right? Okay, here is the fun part. So I just want to give a little bit of the background for a lot of our cadets that has joined the organization or for the first time possibly be hearing what we got going here. Very briefly, I want to let you know that we as an alumni organization, right, as Jexca North America, have been established. You saw the history, and all our senior brothers and some of you has been really supporting and working to keep all of us together. And currently, there's approximately 300 ex-cadets officially known to us. I mean, we have a database about 286. Am I right, Jodha?
Yes.
Yeah, and then we're missing few, but if you know any of your friends that not in that list that you see on the red directory, please communicate with the general secretary and we will add them to our database. So with that said, so there's about, just think about it, that we have about 300 cadets living in the United States. And, you know, Harun can also help us, you know, for how many is actually there in Canada down the road. And we want to include all of them because they're part of the North America Jexca too. So we got a big pool of cadets living in USA and Canada now. So that's that organization. So there were some really great thought process, and sometime between 2001 and 2004 and 5, you know, they said, hey, you know what? We get together, have fun, we have family and children, but what can we do to help some of our ex-cadets, our brothers, who may be in distress, or their families, just like you see what we did last year. One of our ex-cadet from 22nd intake, you know, unfortunately passed away. You know, he didn't have too much of a time to prepare himself for all that. So we backed them up by doing some fundraising. So it is not a commitment that you have to donate or contribute hundreds of dollars. It's just your participation. Sometimes it's not the money, but maybe you have the knowledge, you may have the talent, like, you know, those guys are doing, you know, and you need to really step up and come forward and stay with it. And we understand that time is absolutely, you know, essential for us to make a living, to support our family, so on and so forth. But keep that in the back. And, you know, and then, you know, when I was, you know, young, moved in this country, 5, 6, 10, 12 years, you know, we're too busy. Kids were young, you know, work and all that stuff. But as we're getting older, and you know, and you know, take some little bit of more of a leadership role and so on and so forth, like what Kamal Bhai has done and our Akhtar Bhai has done and Ghulam Kabir Bhai has done, and your turn is going to come. So stay tuned, be a part of it, and see how it works. So the back history was, so in 2001 to 2005 or 6, there was big communication going on. Hey, how can we do this? How can we make it a charitable organization? That if some of you mentioned to me, who works in Apple? Is that Apple or Musta? Oh, he left. So, you know, as you already know, there's some major corporations in America that would match funds. So, you know, and then if I put $100, my company would match another $100 or so. Sometimes they do it 2 times, you know. So those are the things you can bring to the table, you know. So there's so many different ways you can support your own organization. and be a big, important part of that. So that's what the thought process was, and they formed that back in 2007. They officially formed another organization by about 5 members. They called themselves the BOT, the Board of Trustees, and because it became a 501c under the IRS code, 501c3. That makes it even more tougher. It becomes a very charitable organizations only. It's very, so the purpose gets very defined, that what you can do with it and what you cannot do with it. How, when you raise the funds, how much percentages could be used for, reunions, and how much need to go to charitable. So without making this thing go on, and if you feel like to know more about it, please feel free to communicate with any one of us. We have done some extensive research in the last 12, 14 months already, and Jodhar has put enormous amount of work, and he is so good in communications. I mean, he communicated with Kamrul Bhai, got his insights, Akhtar Bhais and Ghulam Kabir Bhais, and everybody that been knowledgeable and knew anything about what was going on in the back. So we have now very successfully, and this has been going on. We wanted to unite. There's a part of the ex-cadets, and here's the larger group of the ex-cadets. We wanted to be one organization under the same name. So that organization was formed in 2007 called Jexca NA Inc. They incorporated that in the state of New Jersey, and they went to the IRS and got a registration number, EIN number. So they became an official organization, and we also maintain our alumni organizations in the site. So there's, as you saw, that we've been doing this since 1988. So the current BOT members and the current executive members, we got together, and they were very fun. 5 BOT members was workable. We all put our heads together and came up with one bylaw that will meet all of our needs, and will still be the charitable organization. Will still, each and every one of you will be a part of that organization. We call it the Jexca community. We call it a community. We don't gonna call ourselves as members, okay? We become the community members, because that's, and I think in a broader way it makes sense. So now let's roll and show you what we're gonna do. And it's about 14-page long, but I'm gonna highlight few of the things so you walk away with some good understanding. If you want to get a copy of the bylaw, this is again in the draft stage, all right? And this is an organization that's already exists, Jexca NA Inc. So the Board of Trustees, those are operating that organization, they have to approve these bylaws, all the amendments, and they have to sign off on that they include all of us into that organization. And I can tell you that I have electronic approval for all 5 BOT members. They have given their full blessings, and they have read through the whole thing. And that this organization is led by Dr. Rizaul. He is in Louisiana, he's a cardiologist, and then he has 4 others, and I'll show you the names as we go forward with the slides. And they all have spent an enormous amount of time and very knowledgeable about how to operate a nonprofit organization. So here we go. All right, so what I want to do, if you can blow this up a little bit here. So, and you can actually do this, so, and then you can slide it up. So you can see this organization that we formed, and I apologize that there may be some grammatical mistakes and formatting errors, because this is the draft copy. So now it is getting formatted, and then it's going to be official, and will be signed off that we are done. So after I do this, just like we do this as this is your community organization, we would need to take a vote that if you guys think that this is the way to go, you say yes, then we'll and then we'll turn it over, and they'll sign it over. So we have locked in all the names that you can think. All right, so we call it a Jexca NA, Jexca North America, Jexca NA Inc., Jexca, and those are the names. So slide it up a little bit. And again, this was formed in New Jersey, so that remains the same. Keep going up. Up. Scroll it up.
Oh, scroll
it down, I'm sorry. Okay, so keep going. So some of the changes, this thing did not change. So first of all, everything we do, you got to have a purpose, right? So what is the purpose of forming this organization? So the main purpose is going to be is Section 501C that's already established. It's an organization that's been formed since 2001. So we are already known, reputable, 16, 17 years old organization. And the specific organizations is going to be the purpose of this corporation shall be to promote educational, social welfare community, so on and so forth, and offering the alumni of Jexca ex-cadets Bangladesh who are permanently residing, go down, in North America, and they all participates in activities for volunteering their time and financial donation for the organization. And then the way it's going to work, it will be operated by a board of trustees. There will be 7 board of trustees, and 5 of them would be holding, well, all 7 of them board of trustees, but all 7 of them would be considered as the executive committee, president, vice president, general secretary, organizing secretary, treasurer, and then the past president and past treasurer will also be the 6th and 7th member of the trustees. So the reason we do this here, because it's a nonprofit organization, so there's a good transitional time. So that's why we keep them going. And then that's the number. And then we put some criteria, very simple criteria. You have to be an alumni of JCC, living permanently and legally without any criminal records. We got to use some disclaimers. So, and that's, that's there. And then how those 5 people are getting elected. So we have some election process, and here's all the election processes. And then, just like I mentioned, Section 4, you can see that we call them a community, is referred as the alumni of Jinaida Cadet College with a cadet number. Anybody who has a cadet number, does not matter you left after your SSC or you did HSC or whatnot, and you're living here permanently, you are going to be a part of the community, okay? So, and then also we do this like we do it in the past. Also, there'll be some election commission set up. Have a 3-member election commissioner. There'll be a 1 election commissioner and 2 other election committee. The term of the office, it's a 2-year term, just like it is now. We didn't change that. It'll be 2-year term. But each of those 5 executive members or board of trustees could be re-elected for 2 consecutive terms, and they can skip one, then they could be re-elected again. But they got to skip one after this actually serve 2 terms. Okay? So, and then be some nomination process, and this is very near and dear to us, and obviously to all of you should be that, we need to make sure that we put the right people, people who are actually, that's the wrong word to use, the right people. I think each and every one of you in this room or in our 300 ex-cadet pool is all appropriately leaders, and each of them can hold any of these offices. It doesn't take any rocket scientist to be a part of the EC members, but we got to make sure that they are, when I say right people, means they have the time, they're willing to do so, and so that we can keep the momentum, we can keep it going. So that's the whole idea. So that there'll be some nomination processes, and we put some formalities. How we put the nomination forms, and we submit it to these to the election commissioners, and how the selection happens, and we move on with that. Compensation. All right, and obviously it's a 100% voluntary organization, so there's no financial contribution other than your recognition, a good handshake, and an eagle, and a thank you, and your work and dedication will remain. And again, these are again some formalities. How someone could be removed, and if somebody wanted to resign for some unforeseen scene, there's an option for that. And in case there's a vacancies, how we fill up the vacancy. And then also we don't hold any of the officers or board of trustees legally liable, so we put a little clause there. So, and then, okay, what's next? Keep going up to the, okay, designations. So we put some job descriptions, just like anything else, that if you become a president, these are the things you're supposed to be doing, and then vice president, keep going down, and trustees, and so on and so forth. It's pretty elaborate, it's pretty simple, and it always could be tweaked and add some things and delete something, and then keep going. And then there's stop right there. So we call it, there's the 5 members, like I mentioned, and then the 2, the past president, past treasurer will serve in the BOT or the executive committee as advisors. So they're there to advise and guide the existing BOT members to for one more term. All right. So now we leave this wide open. So depending on the situations and stuff like that, we put a clause there, Article 5, as committees. So the EC members or you as a part of the community, at a certain given time, we can form committees, just like we have formed last year as a reunion committee. We can find, we may have some specific need or specific fundraising for any projects, and we can call it a fundraising committee or whatever purposes. So this is wide open. We can do anything with it and get everybody involved and form some leadership group, okay? So, and meetings and actions of the comic committees and stuff there. Again, there's some, keep going down. I think I'm doing good with time here. All right, so the meetings, there's different meetings, the regular meetings, AGM. So this is what we are having, a regular general meetings. No, I take that back. The regular meeting, the Board of Trustees can have a face-to-face meeting at any given time, or they can call in special meetings, and we can have the annual general meeting is right there, and then the telephone, and we do now with the technology and stuff, we do a lot of conference calls and stuff like that. So that's a clause there. So anything in the conference call could be constituted as a legal meeting. So decisions without a meeting, and again, this is the one I don't think we'll use a whole lot, but there's a clause there. We need to put something in writing, and the people who are responsible to be there to vote, if they put something in writing, that becomes legal document too. Here's some notices. We need to be giving some notices if we have meetings, and I'm sure that for this meeting, you guys all received a official notice for this meeting, And again, please, on your Viber group or in the emails, we send out all those notices out there. Quorum of a meeting, if it is a Board of Trustees meeting, 4 out of 7 will make a quorum. And then on the AGM meeting, we call this, because this is the technical part right here. So, we have 300 people, 300 ex-cadets here in this. So how do we define a quorum? So right now, we left it like, this is the quorum. Everybody attend that annual general meeting or having any kind of election or decision-making process. Everybody who is there is the quorum. So whatever majority of this room votes, that will pass in this, according to this constitution, okay? So, and again, here's some legal documentations. How do we maintain our corporate records? Because remember, this is now a charitable organization with IRS codes and all the different things that we have to really comply with. So we have to do all, some of the responsibilities. Two officers in this organization holds the bulk of the responsibility, which is the general secretary and the treasurer. So, and they have to maintain the books pretty clean. So, we've set something up that, we don't set ourselves for failure, that, how we do that, how the current EC and treasurer will hand the documents over to the next coming treasurers and stuff like that. So there's some clause put in place in there. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, we consider fiscal year to be just a calendar year, January to December. And here's some tax exempt provision and what is prohibited against doing here. Keep going down. Okay, these are all the legal things, and we can't distribute assets and things like that. So keep going down. I don't think these are all. Okay, these are some of those. Now, amendment, you can stop right there. So you saw those bylaws and stuff like that. So after we go through this whole thing, and if you say, hey, this is the way to go, we vote and we make it yes, we do it. And then, next general meetings, and you guys read through it, and some of the other ones, those are more knowledgeable in these areas. They may recommend, what, we need to change this, we need to amend that. We bring it up to our community members, and we decide, yes, a majority got to agree, right? We as the EC cannot make any decisions. We cannot just do that ourselves and sign off on that and make it happen, because each and every one of us equally responsible, keep in mind, okay? So, construction of the terms, and again, this is some IRS codes. Then here we go. Now, then again, all those bylaws, remember this bylaws right now is what we did. This is an amended bylaw, the existing bylaws of the Jexca NA Inc. So some of those clauses was drastically changed to make this work. So the existing board of trustees are, if you go down, they have to sign off on this. Like there's a Dr. Rizal Islam, he's the executive director of 11th Intake. Dr. Anwar Haq, he's the treasurer. Then Munir Zaman of 13 Intake, he's the trustee member, and Habib Rahman, trustee member 14 Intake, and Mustaq Hussain, the 16 Intake. So I have, all of them has read through it with a fine, comb, and has approved all of them via email. So I have their electronic approvals, but we hold off for them to sign off on this one and make that legal document unless and until you feel like that, yes, we want to do this. Once you guys voted, and as I have handed out these sign-in sheets with your name, so and everybody who signed is here. So the way it works, the majority vote will win, and then we let them know. Maybe some of them may be on the webinar, or I'm sorry, with the conference line here, so they're possibly listening to it. And then, we let them know and they sign off. We'll do the formalities with the state of New Jersey, with IRS or whatever need to be. Then we are one united organization here in North America. So with that said, I want to keep that thought there. I want to come back and I'll bring the panels. We'll have some little discussions on that. Some of you may have some questions, and so I don't want to rush you through that decision process. And we can talk and have a few minutes of that and before we vote. So that would be one of the very last things that we'd like to vote. But now, go back. All right. So
you go back to that.
No, that's fine. So I want to move on and go through the process and see what's in for us. Or I can stop right here, take a little breather, and finish that nonprofit organization part. So I think that would be the best way to do it, right? So let's go back, and Jwadar, if you bring that bylaws up here, and I like to call some of you saw their names on the screen before, some of our senior brothers who have been the past executive committee members to come up and join us here in the panel. And Akhtar Bhai and Kamrul Bhai and Ghulam Kabir Bhai, if you please come up here. And I also like to call our current EC members, if you please come here, Mahmoud, Iqbal. And I also like to call up Habib Bhai. He's been also very instrumental and been supporting, and he knows all the backgrounds also, but he don't want to come up in the front and take any title, but he's always there in the back burner. Habib Bhai, would you please join us also here? And there was another General Secretary. Zia, where's Zia? Zia, come on. You are an ex-EC member, so you need to come sit over here. Yeah, we showed your name there on the screen. All right. So here's a microphone. So any one of you, again, I know we rushed through this very, very quickly. And as you know that we don't have much time, so if you have any specific questions, but before we open up for question and answer, I would like to take a minute or two, not too long, to hear from these brothers right here. What is their thinking process and what they think of merging and so on and so forth. I'll start with Kamrul Bhai. Where's Kamrul Bhai?
Good morning. I have been in contact with Manzoor for many, many months. He had been giving me a draft version every time it was being changed, any concerns, any issues with the BOT. And after looking at this latest version, I've given my full consent. And although I had some questions and some concerns about future administration of the joint organization, but those are all something nebulous concerns. That's not something specific and concrete. So on the basis of those, I didn't want to hold back the process of union. And right now, I'm fully in support of this union the way it is being prepared. My only two concerns were that, yes, we should have more and more services to the Jexca members in need. That is my main goal. In addition to doing other big charitable things, to not forget Jexca is in need. And Manzoor somewhat took that subject to all the BOT members and has addressed them. So I'm fully in support with this new reorganization or union of the two organizations.
Assalamu alaikum, my dear Jexca brothers. This is very nostalgic feeling today. And when I was watching on the screen our cadet college life, first cadet college life, almost brought me to tears with such good feelings about cadet college life. Having Jexca NA in North America was the thing that whatever we did in cadet college, whatever bonding and friendship we had between us, to preserve it through the rest of our life. So Jexca NA organization is our lifeblood. We want to cherish this organization. We want to do as much as we can as an individual cadet. I have been from the very beginning with Jexca NA involved, and with the formation of Jexca NA Inc. in the year 2002 or 2003, what appeared to us that having Jexca NA as the parent organization, we are having a parallel organization over which the EC of Jexca NA had no control. So that was a real no-no. We have been fighting and struggling to change this for years now, and due to some reasons, there were hurdles that we couldn't cross over. Now, with the hard work of the present EC, especially Masood and Jordan, we have come to a very good day that come to a point that we have established our right, what we have been feeling all through this time, that this is our right. It should be one organization. Whatever charitable work we do, it should be under the banner or one platform at Jexca NA. So this is a very important day for us today that we have been successful in this regard. And with all your support, when we vote for it, and I think we'll go forward. And as there is some thing lacking at this time is that we have to energize other ex-cadets who are living in North America so that they can enjoy what we are enjoying today and last night. And that has to be really, really hard work for the current DC and the future DC for us. More we can bring our ex-cadets together, and with this new merger, we should be able to, do a lot for our ex-cadets, as Kamal Bhai said, who are in distress or who need help. Right now, one of our senior brother who had a stroke and he's staying in nursing home, Gaji Kamal Bhai. So there are situations which are not very good situations for the ex-cadets, and we need to be strong that we can help them. Jexca NA was doing charitable work, but what happened to the cadets themselves? They need help too. So what we are doing for them. So that's why with the merger, I see bright light at the end of the tunnel that we will be able to now do much, much more for the future. With that hope and wish, I will ask all of you to really give your time so that Jexca NA can become a very strong and robust organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdullah. I missed one person, Masood Rabi, to please join because he's our West Coast representative right now and the current EC member. So if you please pull a chair. No, you need to come over here.
One thing may I remind you, we have 15 minutes to wrap this up. So
okay.
I didn't want to be
sure.
I didn't want to
No, that's very good. So that keeps us, So if you guys take your, make it
Yeah,
short
please.
remarks.
Let's stay focused on that subject.
Sure.
Because we have a bus leaving 11 o'clock. Everybody needs to check out by then. So go to their room, pack up everything. And we also have some of the folks from local. They have some concern and questions. They want to bring it up.
Sure.
So
Okay.
please,
Go ahead.
stay
Long
focused
COVID
on
thing.
that discussion.
Thank you. I'll make it short and sweet. Uh, the thing,
Oh, sorry.
the thing is that whatever Monju has been in contact with me about these articles, so I'm quite aware of the article, and I was involved actually in with the merger before, and we tried and we couldn't. But right at this moment, we have come to a situation that we can do this, and I am fully in agreement with what you guys are doing, and I support it 100%. Only one minor thing I want to mention is that, Masood, you said that whoever has a cadet number will be ex-cadet. I just want to make it a point that he has to join cadet college. There were some people who has cadet numbers but did not go to cadet college. And I think we have to make this small change that whoever has a cadet number and had food steps, I mean had some steps in the cadet college will be a member.
Done. Done. We'll add that line in.
And I appreciate your hard work. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Habib bhai, do you want to say something?
Okay, I'll make it very short. Actually, I'll not add anything to whatever has been said. Just one observation that um, about the membership of Jexca NA. Uh, in addition to North America, we can always, I don't know if it is possible that we can have a associate member from anywhere, maybe Australia, Bangladesh, who wants to be a member, they should be able to uh, be a member. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so when you're here, might as well give your comments. So push it.
Assalamualaikum everyone.
This is Jia. So he was the General Secretary.
Yes.
Which year again?
2000, 2004.
Okay.
It is like in ancient times. I feel like a dinosaur already. But it is great to see this merger happening at long last. And it's like a dispute between your wife and her best friend. You want to see your wife very happy, but again, you cannot say anything about it. So it was something like that. So we are very glad that it's behind us. One of the things that I would love to have on this charter is to have a clause about improving our college, our alma mater. See what we can put over there to contribute a set amount for the improvement of the college. Say, for example, the swimming pool. I think 20 to 25% of the cadets come out of the college without learning swimming. We cannot make that happen. So let's see if we can do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's pass it on this side here. So,
Short and sweet.
our Vice President, Mahmood.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, make it short.
I really like to say one thing that the Jexca in that we had, there are a lot of people, ex-cadets, put in a lot of hard work, Although there were differences, but they were all for good intentions. The goal was, to be with Jexca and make some contribution for the betterment of lives of people within or outside Jexca. So having said that, let's remember their contribution, and I think this is a great day for us. We are all united, and we will go forward united. And we will stand, like President Kennedy's mom used to say about their family. I would like to say that for our Jexca NA, that one for all for one.
Yes.
When there is a need for somebody somewhere, all of us will jump forward and go behind that person. And when there is a need or crisis in the organization, then one person should carry it forward. So all for one for all. Thank you, gentlemen.
Next, Masood Rao.
Short and sweet. For the merger, this was long needed, and we are really happy and we support this merge between this 501c and yes, thank you for
Thank you. Iqbal, treasurer.
I really have nothing more to add beyond all this wisdom that's just been spilled out. So only one thing is everyone wants to do the same thing. It's just passion sometimes gets in the way, which is a fantastic thing. Rather have a passionate person than not. But again, at the end of the day, there's no reason why we cannot agree, just like as demonstrated here. So hope this continues, and I know it will continue. So that's it.
Thank you. The very last, our General Secretary, brother.
I just have to mention these things very quickly about this, the task that Masood Bhai has taken, and I was working with him, and without his leadership, this would not be possible. Let me tell you this: I have done a lot of legwork, but it was not possible to deal the political things that went behind, and Masood Bhai basically did extremely political handling and maneuvering. That's basically helped us to get where we are. And a special thanks goes to him only. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm a big believer it takes a team to make things happen, and there's no letter I in the word team.
Right.
So thank you for all the good words. But I think you did a lot of work for sure, and then the rest of the EC members and our senior brothers sitting in this panel. We didn't get Gia too much involved, but I think that everybody else in this room has heard at one time or multiple times about these mergers and contributed here and there. So everything that you have said verbally or over the phone or in the emails has been put here. But like some of you, like Kobir Bhai has said, and then Kamrul Bhai has said, and Akhtar Bhai has said, and most of you said that it's not a bulletproof thing. It could be tweaked, could be changed, could be amended, but just to get all of us together. And Mahmoud said it well, because you see those 5 names, are the board of trustees, and this is the 2nd generation of the board of trustees, or could be the 3rd generation of the board of trustees. They have all good intention. They are a part of our brothers. They are the Jexca ex-cadets. They have put their best foot forward to make it all work. They did the best. They have raised multiple times funds. They have supported the Khulna free clinic. Matter of fact, and then with a matter of the time, you will pretty soon be getting some emails and information soon that how we need your participations in supporting some stuff that they have already started working. So we'll come back and share some of this information with you guys later on. So with that said, I'd like to open up the floor. If anybody has any questions for the panel or for us, very quickly, I'd like to say, please, sir.
Two things I would like to point out about the bylaws that caught my eye. One is I thought the changing of the bylaws, it said something like it has to be majority of the community approved by the. So I don't know if community means the entire Jexca NA membership, if that's going to be possible or not. The change of the bylaws. So it could be, that's one. Another thing is that not the quorum, bylaws, changes of bylaws.
You're talking about the amendments.
Amendments, yes. Majority vote by the community members. I don't think that is a feasible thing. Probably it could be majority of the AGM or something like that.
Majority of the voting members, those who voted.
Okay. The other thing is that sometimes in an organization you may need to add new positions, new EC memberships. I didn't see anything about that.
There's a clause.
There's a committee clause, but
No, this amendment basically, if that needs to be done, that
okay.
amendment,
Okay.
that needs to be amended.
All right.
Good observation. Good observations. But and again, just like I said, this is not a bulletproof. So we would need all your insights, all your inputs to make it go and change. So with this clause, this 2 lines says it all. That every time that we have, when you say that community is all of us, and then we said what's a quorum, and on the quorum would be if a decision has to be made by a community of voting community members, and they could be done those three different ways: a regular meeting, at annual general meetings, or the conference calls and so on and so forth. But it has to be in an election, whatever the procedure is. You know, if they're done in that process, I think we got those grounds covered. Any other questions? Sure.
Does it have to be on this topic, Master Pai, or on this topic?
On this topic before.
Oh, okay. Then I'll hold.
Okay, hold your thoughts. We'll come back to the if you something relating to that. Okay, so if that is the case, I like if you think that this is okay, so we need a motion in a second, then we can say or nay, and we'll move on. Anybody like to? Yes, I'm sorry, Ted.
Real quick, some of the bylaws what caught my attention. Two terms should be maybe defined, like community, quorum, forum, membership. The definition will be defined for us.
That's it. I've gone through the whole thing. That's it.
Yes. Just as long as we have a very clear definition of what those mean. তাহলে যে এখন তো ভার্চুয়াল অনলাইন একটু আমরা তো ব্লাড হয়ে যাচ্ছি, so it'll be a little bit unclear later. Crack করা difficult হতে পারে. That's just a comment. Thank you.
Good comments. You know, Imtiaz's comments was that, you know, and I'm a big believer of that too, and I'm sure all of you would be. That is, as much as we can define, either as a job description or a detailed description of a word that we use, like what is a quorum, what is a community. So we did that in a very short version, and those all could be added and amended. Says, hey, you know, we need to add these 2 lines in the community. So, no other questions?
Masood, a question came up about the associate member. We have that, like Jackie was saying, the Houston reunion, he was adjudged as the associate member, but he is not a cadet.
The wives?
Wives are also associate members.
Yeah.
So we have that.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I made that clear last time, yesterday, because we said that because that was our old bylaws, that we had associate members or our spouses and then other associate members. But at this current time, this bylaws does not have that. We can always add that later. So I didn't want to make it too complicated, you know, bring that associate member. This is going to be an easy deal that, you know, say, you know, how do we get our wives involved, our children involved? And I don't think that will be any major issues. The big thing is, keep in mind that the biggest thing is going to be to keep the purpose in mind. What is the purpose for these organizations and who is in control? Those are 2 things. The purpose, and obviously is very clearly defined. And then we can, you know, it's a charitable organization. It includes all of us. You vote how this, you know, you pick who's going to be the leader, who's going to be the president, and so on and so forth. So we did the majority structure in a most legal way because we couldn't use certain terms and so on and so forth. And again, I mean, just like I said, you saw those existing board of trustees. They have put a lot of work, a lot of thoughts, and they are very, very passionate about it. Just like each and every one of us are passionate about our organization. We don't want it to hurt because, you know, the terms are 2 years. So I don't want to set something up and quit a year later. And somebody else comes in and they says, man, what is garbage this thing is? Or, man, he just put me to fail. Or I'm going to be in trouble to be a president of this organization. See? So that's the thought process. So we can fine tune. And Harun, do you have a question?
Regarding the amendment of bylaws, it's just like a constitution of the Jexca. So normally in other bylaws I saw like any changes or amendment, it need to be go through AGM. That's the thing. Yes. Without AGM,
Yes,
just DC meeting and other meeting cannot change the bylaws.
That's right.
That need to be mentioned clearly.
Yes.
It does. It does. But only ECs, you know, obviously whatever percentages they have. Okay. So, you know, we've just been reminded it's already 10:15 and we got other things planned to do. So with that said, if we have is everybody's in favor? First of all, we need a motion. Somebody need to make a motion.
No.
That's right. Okay. First of all, somebody make a motion, please.
I put the motion to.
Okay. We have Gia. First of all, if you say your name and your intake, and then.
Zia 20th 1134. I put the motion. I make a motion to. I'm requesting a motion to approve this bylaws.
We have a motion to approve the bylaws as is presented. I have a second. State your name and intake.
I, Ghulam Kubit, 6th intake, I second the motion.
Okay, everybody in favor, raise your hand.
Yeah.
Very good. That passes. Pass.
Landslide.
The landslide. Wow, we are now one united organization. That is awesome job. Thank you very much for the panel, for your support and everything that you have. And thank you for everybody. So right now, very quickly, we move on to the next slide and call my General Secretary up here and tell us what's in for us move forward. Very quickly. And here's the General Secretary, Manzoor Jwadar.
Okay, this is something that we EC have been working on for the last few months to figure out exactly what are we going to be doing for next 1 year, which is our terms end at 2018. So these are the things that we set together and figured out that okay, this is something that we would like to work on, which is going to be putting in a yearly as a social programmer মধ্যে যেগুলো arrange add করছি, which is basically a yearly picnic in the 3 major regions, which is basically Texas, Southern region, Western is California, and New York is another region. So we'll be discussing these things with the local folks. Welfare mode will be there are some requests came in the past that how can we do have a job search for the new ex-cadets. So we will be working on that too, and also. We have been hearing from our elders that we need to have some sort of a fundraising events for to helping our ex-cadets. So that's something that we will be also going to be working on, and we need to have some sort of a framework from fundraisings, which we will also work on. Also, another. Jexca North America, now that it's a merged 501c3 organizations, now we will be registering our organizations to all the corporate world so that we can really get some sort of a matching donations. That's going to be huge for us. I sort of working with Imtiaz and his friends in 2017. They those who work in Apple, Google's, and other large corporations. So we'll going to be working to get our company, our organization registered at the large corporations. And now that আমাদের Jexca North America, we did not really have any legal bank accounts or PayPal accounts and things like that. So now that the organization has been merged, became a one, we will be registering our getting into a bank accounts and PayPals and other and তারপরে আরেকটা সিচুয়েশন যে এক্সিস্টিং যে ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্টগুলো আছে অথবা অন্য লিগাল ডকুমেন্ট যেগুলো আছে Jexca North America Inc. We have to clean up some of those existing formalities-গুলো শেষ করতে হবে স্টেটের থ্রুতে। আচ্ছা তারপরে there was another request. Basically, there are a lot of people that travel outside the countries and or maybe within the countries. They sometimes go travel one city to another city, but they don't really know any ex-cadets whereabouts so that they can meet and match. So that is going to be part of our database and more communication between between cadets and locally and outside the countries. And so we're trying to find a country representative, we get in the contact information so that we can also share this information amongst us. And the next one is going to be 2018, the reunion. And that's going to be part of our next thing. So these are the things we have in the agenda, and with our current DC and all the elders and younger brothers, we'll be working together to improve the organizations where we are from here, going forward.
I think you guys also have 1 more year to go, right? Yes. So the trustees, how do you march going forward once you march these organizations?
Okay, Mizan has a very good point. Mizan said that if we just now approve this bylaws as is, our current existing EC members still have 1 more year term, and then the BOT is already in terms, right? So as soon as the BOT members sign this off, we get included right off the bat. So I proposed, and that was the next thing that's a good thing you brought it up, that I proposed the BOT, that what we do, the existing 4 BOT members and our existing 5 EC members work together for the remainder of the year. So we understand what they are doing and they understand what we are doing, and we work together, in the meantime we do all the changes like Jodhar said, bank accounts, PayPal accounts, and cleaning things up, and set it up for the next generation of leaders to take over in 2018. So that would be the way I would propose, right? So there'd be no changes, no votings, nobody is electing or resigning. So that's the proposal right now. So that's why we didn't bring that up as a motion to make a motion. So, good point. All right, where's Iqbal? Very quickly, let's hear from the money man.
Oh, just go to the next slide, please. So, as you have heard, we have two accounts right now. So this is more like the operating wing of the organization. We do expenses, stuff like that as it incurs. And the other account is being handled by the current BOT. So these numbers reflect only what I have access to. So basically right now, money comes in before we have reunion, and then you manage it, and then you do your expenses and that sort of stuff. So we had $1,869 from the previous reunion. This is leftover, we had it. And basically, it's just a high recap of the ledger. Anybody from accounting background here? Everybody. Good, so I can just go through with anything, you will believe me. On the left column, debit, in accounting terms, means coming in, credit means going out. So we have right now 4,200 ending balance, but that is of course not the current because we have collected some money. Some people showed up. Our good friend Masud came in yesterday. He was not in the syllabus, so he was generous enough to donate $100, but he's going to add a zero to it. But bottom line is that's what we have. Just echo one more thing, fully transparency, whatever we have, receipt-wise, whatever wise, any of you can ask where we are, and it's for you to go see. So, good job.
Yes, and that's the other key thing, that when we make it a charitable organization under IRS code 501c3, we have to be transparent, no two ways about it. We have to post our financials, we have to tax returns, and all those things. It's going to be on the website. So anyways, and there's some public information that we need to publish also, that anybody can reach out and get some kind of notices and things like that. So with that, let's see the next slide. Okay, so we've already presented the body of the elders. Is obviously there may not be the right appropriate wordings or whatever. This is the senior comments, and so we already did the panel stuff has already been done. So with that, we're going to move on to the question and answer sessions, and we wanted to have some Azmol and some of the other has some questions really quickly, and Masood.
Before we move on to Q&A on that expense thing, just people here, just to know that reunion fund, I asked NA, whatever for the reunion, whatever the fund was raised, we'll have a separate balance sheet just like the one you saw. So how much was for the reunion, how much is the expense? And that will be shared with the EC as well as the host committee in Los Angeles. So so we have a transparency of seeing that what was collected. If there's a surplus, it will go back to the NF fund.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good comments, Masood. And exactly that's what we did last year, and just like you see that in 2016 we did the transparency, and Iqbal did an awesome job in maintaining the database of expenses and how the funds came in, and we kept it pretty transparent. And at the end of the reunion, we came up almost $2,000 over. The way we projected this, and I've been working with this committee from the beginning of financing and handlings, and several of you guys helped, and Akhtar Bhai has tremendously helped to raise some funds from New York, from other businesses, and picking up the phone and calling and gathering this. So we are looking right now, Masood, so that you would know if the numbers that you and I talked about, if those numbers come in play, you'll still be at least $2,000 ahead from this reunion. So we will move forward at least 4,000 or 4,200, what Jodhar showed you. I'm sorry, Iqbal showed you. Okay. So now question and answer sessions here very quickly, and some of you at first time, and please keep your questions, and we're going to try to answer as quickly, and you can direct it to anyone or in general, and whoever feels comfortable, you can answer your question. Go ahead. You can state your name because you are on your live. So
my name is Rofik. Sorry, 2017 Tech 1465 camera. My question, my comment is we're not doing enough for the career growth of our existing cadets. We were discussing that last night, and we have some plan, and then I agreed to take some steps. If we all help and carry forward and make some plans, that will be very beneficial.
For the next generation.
Yeah.
Great job, Rafiq. I mean, those are those kind of inputs and recommendations we need. We want you to step up. Don't let things die down as soon as we step out of this hotel. Maintain the momentum, communicate with the general secretaries, communicate with us, and then obviously, we will bring all those to life. Azmul? Azmul, I don't think my speakers go that far. If you walk up here very quickly, and if anybody has any questions, you come up, follow him and come up here, and we can answer those quickly. State your name and.
Thank you. This is Azmal Khan, 18 Think Tech. I'll be very quick. You guys donate a lot of your time for the organization. I appreciate that. I was thinking like what I can do, people like us who are not as involved.
Yes.
So I was thinking like, do you guys think that we can start some, let's say, annual membership fee? It's very minimal for North American people. Let's say $20 a year, right? Because every time I see that there's a need, one of us need help, we see those emails starts flying. Why can't we not have a fund in advance, and we have expenses, right? Admin expense, this and that. So 20, 30 bucks per year annual membership, I think most of us can afford, and we can have that. Another thing is like, I don't know if it contradicts the Jexca lifetime membership, but can we have something like that for NA? So that we can have some fun, let's say somebody pays $500 and then we make them lifetime Jexca NA member, and those funds we can use for some of the purposes that we see now. Those are the two comments I wanted to
No, I just want to add. So you say $20 is a good idea. I think let's put forward whatever amount we have, and let's put forward $20 everyone, and collect like a few $100 that is just in the right step.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's the law or something, but exactly that's what I was thinking. What I can do,
but maybe we can take a motion. Okay.
Azmal, outstanding point. But that's what we need. That's the kind of leaders we're looking for. Okay, let me tell you on Azmal's point, and hold your thoughts, please. As first of all, that as I mentioned, this is not a membership organization. It's not a member-based organization, right? So it's a community-based organization. But, and if you see what we just did for our the brother Javed, and that's what in the process of doing, that, it's each and every one of you contribute $20, $25. We set a fund. We just set a target that $5,000 is we call it emergency fund or slush fund or operating fund. And, he will do that, or we put 5,000 or 10,000, whatever it is. Everybody's going to be live. You go and put in your $10. Rafiq puts in $50. Mahmoud puts in $100. And somebody would, we can maintain, just like you mentioned, lifetime, and then we can be very creative and have that fund, but not call it a membership fees. And then we will have that fund, say we have a $5,000 budget, right? So we call it emergency fund. So some emergency comes up, we use $2,000 for that. So now it went down to $3,000, he's gonna put it up to $2,000. Again, that fund is up again for $2,000, you keep putting $2,000, as soon as it reaches for that target, we stop. So we have to be more creative, and we need pioneers and leaders like you to come up with some ideas like Rafiq and Mizan and Azmal, the points that you guys made. Share with us, come up with the comments, and then we'll work it. And then just like I said, 10 JCC brand work much better than one non-JCC branded. Okay, so great. Any other comments, questions? Sure. Please state your name and. Please watch Moinul from 27th in Tekman House.
I think one of the things is that you're making a 501c3 as a charitable organization based in North America. I think we need to have a framework what charitable work we're going to do. And I think AGM is a great event where we have our families. We can slot in like a 2-hour, some local charitable event, right? You can do a meal packing or something. So that goes, what are the activities, right? At the end of the day, I'm going to sign in this organization with my company, right? I need to see what's going on, right? Is it just you guys get together, or what do you do?
Yeah.
Right. It has to have an impact on the social, in the local community, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a good valid point again. I mean, those are, and of course we have purpose. We got to have a very good objectives, and it's a charitable organization, so we got to set those things in place.
I will make a point. So my name is Jexca from 19 Intake. So right now the principal of Carrot College is from our intake. And 2 years ago, 37 of us visited the Carrot College for an overnight trip. And we are first hand, saw some of the stuff they're doing with some help from ex-cadets from 12th Intake, who is in Army, is a Major General in Joshua Cantonment. So they need huge amount to do some stuff in the campus. And we have seen some bathrooms, the auditoriums, they really, really need renovation. And he's not getting the fund that he wants because he's from engineering corps. So he also, he can get some support from senior, some generals, but he needs some money. So as a intake, as a 19 intake, we did, contribute about 14 lakh and renovated one of the galleries. So last night, we did talk to him, and he said, just to present this, he's not expecting it, but just so we know, currently he's, because the temperature is rising in our country, as all of you know, he's looking to put AC in the mosque, AC in the auditorium, and Border House and Khyber House, the floors are really in bad condition, also the bathrooms. I mean, I went to the staff bathroom on the second floor. It's really, it's in bad shape, really bad shape for the teachers even. So, he sent me all the details. We don't have time.
Please share with us.
I can email some of this stuff, and some of the stuff that he did. Jahidi Bhai, they have a brand new computer lab. We saw that with 20 computers, with chairs, tables. So he's trying to, another intake. I don't know off my head. They contribute a good amount. The whole mosque floor is tiled now.
28.
Yeah, so I said, I don't know. So he's trying to talk to anybody, that he can get a clue or, he has a referral and try to collect money and do stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamshed. Let me say, Jamshed has a good point. I mean, those are the works that we need to be doing. So send it over to Jwadar. We'll post it and then we'll actually promote it.
I have a food for thought. Like it could be premature, but as we are getting older, our children are getting, bigger. They're coming out, or they're in college, in schools. Like as we are being successful in organizing the reunions, there can be a time when we should start thinking about organizing camps, youth camps, for our children. And so that children could come alongside the reunion and have a camp for 4 or 5 days, and where we could inculcate in them the Bangladeshi culture, because that is the thing we are losing out, right? So we can do that through our organization, and that idea I'm putting on the floor.
Great. I mean, we can go for it. We can see how much passion and how much, good thoughts are in place. So due to the timing, I mean, we can open up. So what I like to do is we break up and go to the, all the different beach and spending the day today. While these thoughts are fresh in your mind, share with us and make sure it goes to the right people. And the right person right now in our team is Jwadar. And he's very good at, communicating back, and making sure those things get, heard somewhere. Okay, so the very last piece of our business, Kamrul Bhai, please don't leave. We have a very exciting, Akhtar Bhai said that, was passionate watching the video first. Wait till the ending. We want you to leave here with passion. Yes.
Hold the bus for me.
Yes, hold the bus. Don't leave without us.
One quick inquiry.
Say your name first.
This is Irshad from 18th and Tech 994 Khyber House. We spoke about charitable work. My idea was at some point, if we can include our kids, the middle school, high school level kids. When you have high school level kids, they go for different places for volunteer work. My thought is, can we have them involved in this as Jexca? It gives us satisfaction, it gives them confidence. They feel in future they want to be part of this in the long term.
Yep. Great. All points taken well. Last piece of our business. We need to pick us next reunion area. I mean, where we're going to have the city. So, first of all, I mean, and obviously the most recent 3 reunions we had in Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, and Toronto. So, we covered, like in the United States, we kept it in this side, like in the West and the Midwest. And so now, we need to take it in a different part of the country. So anybody has any idea where it can be?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you guys agree, I'm proposing New York. And New York Akhtar has is willing to take the lead, including along with my friend, good friend, Dr. Masudur Rahman. So if that everybody agrees, and we will hand the patent to Akhtar Bhai.
Wonderful. So we have one one suggestions, we take it to New York. Let me get another thing that all of you know, and you saw the slide there, and under the Kamal Bhai's leadership, Kamal Bhai didn't leave yet, right?
I'm here.
Okay, so with his leadership, the first union, or the first time it was established in 1988 in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Okay, so it was in the East Coast. So next year, 18, is going to be, what is it, 30 years? 30 years. So Jexca would be celebrating the 30-year anniversary next year. It's a huge deal. So our banners and everything will say celebrating 30 years or whatever the case is. So it started from East Coast, and I would like to, and personally again, and I would not make a motion or a second, but I will back up, and I think I agree what's on the table right now. Any other cities or anybody in the leadership? First of all, you need to be if you wanna. We don't want to nominate somebody or nominate a city that's not represented here, right?
But do we have to decide today?
Well, it'd be better if we already have a city.
Because I think we don't have time to decide that, and there's some discussion we are having yesterday as well that should need to happen.
Here's an announcement while you hold your thought and keep discussing.
Folks.
Usually they decided this meeting based on my experience last time. We decided in LA, Masud Bhai and Ziad said, okay, we'll organize in there.
Okay, while you think about it, think for a minute, and this is a couple of things. One, we are going to check out. We need to check out today. Some people are staying maybe day or two. When you go to check out, folks are checking out today. When you go to front desk, you tell them you're checking out, but you're going to leave your car in the parking lot until 4 o'clock. So you should be asking them, make sure my room key works when I get out of the parking lot. And because some of you do have complimentary parking, some of you do have a discount rate parking. So make sure you bring that up when you check out. That's number one. Number two, all my friends, host committee, there are things that belongs to us. So we want to take it. So we will make sure you carry them from here. If you see something laying here and there, not yours, let me know. Thank you.
Okay.
Some people online, so let me ask if they have any question online. You give them a chance.
Sure. Yeah. So we're gonna have somebody online if they have any questions, and very quickly we can take one or two questions.
But let's finish this topic next reunion.
Yes.
There are some young generation
next time.
I talked to them last night. They have very nice ideas about next reunion, all these places. We should listen to them very carefully.
Yes, Rafiq already made a point, and I think I was talking to some of them. They'd really like to take it to the Bay Area, for once, and like I said, to rotate this, and we can come back a year later or something, bring it back again in California, whatever the case is. But if you guys are really, we can entertain the idea and let's see what everybody thinks.
This is Nisar 15 in Tech. I was talking to Masood Bhai that we, the Bay Area folks, we would like to host it, but it doesn't have to be next year.
Exactly.
So that's not an issue. But there were some ideas that we talked about throughout this reunion that why don't we do something differently? For example, why don't we do a 3-day cruise somewhere as a reunion event? So these are thoughts. I wish we had more time to discuss the next reunion venue, but looks like we don't have enough time. So I don't know what everybody else thinks. What do you guys think? If you want to make some comments.
If I can make a comment.
So and again, we can have multiple get-togethers. If everybody agrees, and then we can have a fundraising event, just like you said. We can do a lot of things.
So regarding the Bay Area or any other venue for the next reunion, one thing we can do is that instead of just deciding for next year reunion, we can possibly create a roadmap of different things we can do over the next 2 years or next 2 or 3 years. That way, maybe we don't have to stick on one thing and we can do multiple. That's one recommendation or suggestion. And one more comment, which is probably very, very important, and there's been a lot of discussions about this, is that to involve our younger cadets and the next generation, right? In that regard, we need to do something I mean, in this reunion, 27th batch has been the junior most batch, which is really unfortunate because the 50th batch just walked out this year. So that means there are 23 batches after us. We have zero representation. And then it is true that maybe they are not that many, but I think we need to find a way to get them involved, hunt for them, maybe get their leads from Jexca Bangladesh and see who have come out, find intake representatives and things like that. And somehow we have to bring everybody on North America under a single platform. We created a new website, we have some social media channels, YouTube channels, all those things are now available. And I think we need to take advantage of those and bring everybody under one platform. And then I think we'll be a stronger organization. Many of the fundraising events, many of the charitable events, many of the things we want to do for JCC, the college. Then after that is more of like the higher education part. And after that is more of the professional part, which is like job hunting and so on. I think if we can create maybe to start off with a vision and a mission, and then we can attack all three fronts somehow. That is my suggestion. Thank you.
আমি জাস্ট 30 সেকেন্ডস আমি শেষ করব সেটা হচ্ছে যে তোমরা সান ফ্রান্সিসকো থেকে অফার করছো করার জন্য দিস ইজ গ্রেট লাইক আই লাভ দ্য এনথুজিয়াজম এন্ড এভরিথিং আই ক্যান রিলেট টু দিস এক্স্যাক্টলি টু আওয়ার হিউস্টন রিউনিয়ন যখন আমরা ডালাসে করার জন্য উই got like really hyped up because we were like 15 16 ex-cadets there. Now it's about 19. So basically আমরা সাথে সাথে যখন ভাবলাম যে পরেরটাই করলে কেমন হয়, so both in Texas didn't look good, like Houston তারপরে Dallas, it looks like like we are hogging the thing. So আমরা বলছি we'll let it slide to another place. And what happened is like we went to Toronto and then brought it back to Dallas. So hold that thought, hold that enthusiasm. Let's go to East Coast. I know it's going to be a great reunion. Let's bring it back to West Coast again.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're thinking.
That'll be wonderful.
That's exactly what we're thinking.
Okay, the only city that we're hearing is New York. So everybody, let's go with that. Anybody opposed to New York? Raise your hand.
New York and the vicinity. Yeah, New York.
That's correct. New York, East Coast. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, whatever. So we'll take it to East Coast. Okay? So if everybody in favor to take it to next year's reunion to East Coast, raise your hand.
Yes.
All right. 100%. 100%. Done.
But they wants to take it to Ireland.
All right. So, and just like we said, and we want to turn the leadership over as the chairperson or the convener of the next year reunion to Akhtar Bhai if he accepts.
All right. Before coming to this reunion, I talked to Masood, Dr. Masood, who is also in New York. He said, it's okay, we can do it here. And I want to only mention my wife. She's very, very active. She had done a lot of reunions in the East Coast. I think me and her together will put up a good show. All of you are welcome.
You have our best wishes, inshallah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And all those good thoughts, what you guys just mentioned about the fundraising events, about the flow chart, the path, where we go in roadmap, and so on and so forth. Put them all in perspective. Let's work on that. And we need your leadership for this organization to move forward. Imtiaz is an outstanding point. From 27th, we had the highest turnout this year. And there's a big gap. So you guys encourage them. So what happens is because, from in Dallas, even some of the junior cadets, Nasim is which intake he is? 23rd? 23rd. So, he said, well, you're going to go? Well, no, it's all senior brothers and stuff. What I'm going to do? It's boring. It's not. So the bottom line, you've seen this, right? What we break the ice in a reunion or in a Jexca NA, after you graduated, we're all are equal. Right? Well, and we sincerely appreciate the respect. That respect is already in us. Nobody can take it away. If I see a sixth intake, Habib Bhai or Ghulam Kobir Bhai, my respect is there. It's not going to go anywhere. Akhtar Bhai is, I'm just one. Mahmoud, Hassan Mahmoud, he was my local partner. So here he is. So, or I was his locker partner. I said he was my locker partner. Okay, never mind.
It's both ways.
Both ways, that's true. So, when we come here, we want to have fun. We want to get our wives involved. We want to get our children involved and think about everything that we have talked today. And obviously, some I don't know if it's got recorded or not. But if we forgot, he's very good. He is Jodhar is going to take some notes and communicate with you guys. Get your thoughts, and if something you forgot, you didn't put the times, and fundraising events and ideas that we talked about, how we can do matching funds and so on and so forth. So we need to continue that. So with that said,
One more question.
final questions online. Anybody online has any questions?
Any questions? Anybody online?
Okay, no questions online. So
One last question I have. I want to put a competitive mindset in our Jexca brothers. Orca has $250,000 in their bank account, and you saw our state. So let's set up a fund telethon or fund e-thon or whatever you call it.
We'll have to.
Yes.
We have to just put up and match that $250,000. Are we less than Russia college?
No, Jia.
Excuse me.
Jia, we can do it because so long we were in the
limbo.
Now
Yes.
from today on we have a new spirit. Yes. We'll go for it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Give yourself a round of applause. All right. If no other questions, no other online questions, I want to adjourn the meeting. Please pay attention to the closing video. Hope this does not bring tears in your eyes. Here we go.
No tears.
This is a tear of joy, I say. So again, thanks for everybody for joining. Stop. You're missing out. The song you already gave it away. Purano Desh, Purano Shei Diner Katha. Let's see how does it remind you. Turn it up.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. Turn it up a little bit.
That is your last joke.
Oh no.
Can it up? Crank it up.
Push it up.
ওরা ভোরের বেলা ফুল তুলেছি দোলা বাজিয়ে বাঁশি গান গেয়েছি তলায় হায় মাঝে হলো ছাড়া ছাড়ি গেলেন কে কোথায় আবার দেখা যদি হলো সখা প্রাণের মাঝে
Not over yet. It's not over yet. Keep going.
বানা থাকিস তবু তুই দেখে বিপদে আসিস বানা আসিস সত্যি বলছি দেখে লোয়ে দূর থেকে বাজাবি যদি কখনো নিজেকে একা একা ভাবি So please now forever say goodbye.
ওইখান থেকে সেরকম জানলা
Friendship never dies. ডাকলে শুনিস বানা শুনিস
Wow. Friendship never dies. Okay? We'll see you next year. Stay well. God bless everybody. May Allah bless everybody. Khuda Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. ওই যে ওয়েলকাম এটা এখানে একদম
Okay, done for with the AGM. Thanks everybody for joining. Until next time.